Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster and I thought I'd do a quick video for you today on something I've spoken about a few times before, and that is putting together a kind of a historical, traditional frontiersman style kit. Now, to expand on that a little bit, it's not going to be massively historically accurate. I'm going to be using modern, certainly modern materials, some modern items, but I'm going to try and keep them as traditional as I can. There's no real purpose behind this. It's just something that interests me, and I'd like to put together a kit that's kind of as close as I can get it. As I say, there'll be a few modern things in there, but generally speaking, I want to keep the types of equipment as close as I can. Now, that has allowed me to purchase something that I have long sought after. They're not cheap to get a decent one. And I've kind of put it off for a number of years, and kind of this little idea I've had has allowed me to go out and buy what I'm just about to show you. Now, as the title suggests, it's the cold steel 1917 Frontier Bowie. Now, before I show you it, I appreciate that this is not a bushcraft knife, certainly not by modern standards. It is a beast of a knife. And traditionally, from my research, the small amount that I've managed to do with sort of original sources, these knives were kind of a jack of all trades. They were used for camp tasks, they were used for chopping, for all your normal cutting chores, and it was a sort of a way of self-defense as well. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be coming across any grizzly bears or marauding bandits, but for all the other tasks, I'm hoping, at least that's the theory, to kind of prove to at least myself, if not you guys, that this knife will work in a kind of a bushcraft style environment. So without further ado, here it is. As I say, it's a big knife. I'll give you some specs on this on the screen later on, but essentially you've got this lovely leather scabbard on there. It's got a frog on there, a belt loop. This is all detachable, so you can actually take this off if you don't want it. It's got a metal, I forget the name for these things now, but a metal cover down the bottom to stop the points going through the leather, and there is a bit of a point on this which I'll show you in a moment. Handle wise, it's that kind of pistol grip handle. It's full tang, but doesn't go all the way through to the top. I don't really have a problem with that, to be perfectly honest. There is a little bit of rattle in the handle, and that's because one of these screws is a little bit loose. Because they're flat heads, again, not completely traditional, but I can just tighten these up so it's no issue. You've got a very nice guard on here. I would have liked it if they were both upswept, rather than one being downswept, but it looks very nice, and yeah, I don't really have a huge problem with it. Now to the blade itself, and as I said, this is an absolute beast. It's about 12.5 inches long, just for the blade itself. It is very thick, which is good because I'm planning on using this for battening and those kind of things. But you can just see, if I hold this up against my forearm, this is longer than my forearm. I mean, this is a big blade. Now, my intentions for this are that this is going to be, this was not a cheap knife. It cost me about 140 quid, and for a good quality reproduction Bowie, that was the sort of the prices I was seeing pretty much everywhere, if not more. Now, it is a nice knife, but it is going to be a beater from day one. It's got a lovely blackened finish on here. I'm not too worried about fingerprints. The oils in my fingerprints will mar this over time, so be it. I'll give it a quick rub down every now and again. I will keep it oiled. The blade itself is not massively sharp. It's sharp enough to cut paper. But I am going to be, as you would have seen on my previous videos, the other thing I'm going to be doing with this knife is I am only going to be touching this with found stones. So there'll be no bench stones, there'll be no oil stones, no diamond stones, no Japanese water stones. This will be, I've got a little bit of slate just sitting here. It's probably not what I'll be using, truth be told, but actually it will be stones that I've picked up that I'll be using to sharpen this, and I want to do that for kind of historical accuracy to a degree. Yes, I know you could get sort of bench stones and sort of squared off stones in sort of, you know, the 1800s and things like that, but from what I'm seeing, you know, it was more prevalent that people would find a stone, maybe lap it, you know, maybe sort of rub it up against another smooth, flat rock to flatten off a surface on it, and you've seen my video on that previously. But generally speaking, that's what I'm going to try and do with this. Now the top of the clip point here has got a false edge, so it's completely blunt. I did have a think about sharpening this up, but for you know, if this was going to be like a fighting knife or something, which it certainly isn't, you know, maybe I would have considered doing it, but I've got no cause for it. I'm also interested in, and again, it's a very, very acute fine point on this. Now, one thing that these were used for, and still are today in competitions from what I understand, is people used to throw these. Now, it's big enough, beefy enough and chunky enough that I don't think I'll have any problems, but the tip is very fine, and I don't really want to snap the tip off, but I think maybe at some point I'll give it a go. Maybe when in the woodlands, when I've got some nice kind of you know, soft-ish flooring without the risk too much of it hitting stones. But I don't know, we'll wait and see on that. But so really, as I say, this video was just a quick introduction to this knife. I'm really, really pleased with it. I really, really like it. You know, this brings out the sort of the kid in me. I've wanted one of these for a very, very long time. And I'm very, very pleased that I've now bought one. I mean, this is almost, you know, the feel in your hand, it almost feels like something like a small cutlass, and you can see why people would have carried these for protection back in the sort of the old frontiers and the Wild West days. You know, you pull this out when someone's you know, sort of coming at you, and it'd certainly give you pause for thought, if nothing else. And as I say, you know, I'm over here, I'm in the UK, you know, I have no what's the word I'm looking for? I've got no intention of using this in any kind of protective manner, but I will be using it as part of this traditional kit as time goes by. So I have a few other things in the pipeline. I've got a lot of other things as well that I already have that I'm going to be using to put this kit together. I'm going to keep a fire steel in there just for on the basis that I know I can guarantee a fire with a fire steel, but predominantly I'm going to be using flint and steel. That's going to be my go-to fire lighting method. I'm going to have things like char cloth, jute twine, fat wood, those kind of things to try and take that spark and then get my fires going. And I will keep you guys posted as this kit comes together. So as I say, cold steel 1917 Frontier Bowie. Not the most practical of knives, I know, but it's something I really wanted for this kit and just wanted in general. So I hope it was useful, guys. Comments and questions in the box below. Hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I hope you'll all join me next time. Cheers, guys.